I'm Sukhbir Singh Anand, and today's date is 25th of May, 2014. I was 34. I was working with Engineers India, which is a Government of India company, as an engineering manager. Well, June 1984, I was in UK at the time when the Blue Star took place. Well, I was officially visiting UK, and I was seeing it on TV because BBC was making a very extensive coverage of Operation Blue Star, including showing how the militants and the military there was fighting. So there was a very extensive coverage. I've seen it there on TV. That time in 1984 June, what we saw is that, as per the Mark Tully, who was the correspondent of BBC in Delhi, in India, his commentary on the television was not biased. He was telling us that, look, what he has heard is that there's a curfew in Amritsar, the movement is completely stopped, and then they were showing on TV the pictures of the damage of the Harmandir Sahib, Akal Takat, Parikrama, everywhere. And it was so bad that when somebody, from in the sanctum, the main central part of the Gurdwara, they would come out sometimes, to take some water from the Sarovar. And the military was firing on them at that time too. Right? All that was shown on the TV. Then later on, when I came back to India after maybe 10-15 days, then I heard a lot more stories, which perhaps every one of you must have also heard. Before I tell you my reaction, I'll tell you the reaction of the people whom I met in the South Hall Gurdwara in London at that time. When the news was broken there that this is what's happened, people started crying. I was trying to get in touch with the people there in India to find out more. But unfortunately, most of the telephone lines, especially in Punjab, are down. So it was very difficult to reach anybody and get the reactions. Well, we were in Delhi, and I was in the office at that time when we first heard the news of Indira Gandhi's death. I never expected that it would turn so violent within minutes. So about 2:30 in the afternoon, I was advised by some of my colleagues that it's better that you rush back home. It could be pretty ugly later. So I just returned, I picked up my car, came back home. Till that time, till about 3 o'clock, I didn't witness much really going around. But as soon as it was about 5:36 in the evening, we started hearing a lot of noises, petrol pumps being put on fire, a lot of smoke coming up within maybe 1 mile's distance. And very next morning, we were all keen to see the newspapers, but newspapers had completely, blanked out any news about the Sikhs being massacred. It was only, talking about Indira Gandhi, and their dead body was being shown on the TV, lying there in state, which seemed to be causing more of commotion amongst the Hindus and other people. And that probably helped the government, the police, and the hooligans to break up the emotions of the Hindus so that they come out and do something against the Sikhs. Well, the first reaction is, my dear, that I wish it didn't happen because it was one of the worst massacres of the Sikhs, as we call it a Kadugara. And it was a really one-sided thing where Sikhs were targeted. In my own family, you see my Chachaji, my uncle, I believe on 1st of November itself, he was killed. And what happened is that, I'll share it with you like this, that you see, he had retired from the border security force and had constructed a new house in a locality called Pritampura. There was no telephone he had in his house, so we couldn't get any news on 1st of November throughout the day. But late night, my another chacha sent somebody, not Sikhs but Hindus, but his worker, because he was running a factory, to give me the information that my elder chachaji had been killed, and his younger son was very badly beaten up. He had fractures all over his body. All the bones were practically broken, and then he was put on fire. He was burned alive. It's a miracle how he survived, because what these brothers did is that they picked him up from the roof of the house and threw him down in the next plot, which fortunately was not built. And there was a very tall grass which had grown. By the evening time, because of the morning, the dew, etc., the grass was wet. This guy fell with the face down, and therefore the fire that was set on him burnt the backside of his body completely. But the guy was still, he could survive after that. And another thing I wish to add here is that the entire crowd which had come to kill them continued waiting till late in the evening to make sure that this boy is also dead. Then it's people who were staying nearby who came out of their houses to tell them, look, damn it, both the people are dead. The gentleman who stays here, he and his son both are died. Only ladies are left. Of course, those ladies were escorted early morning by some neighbors and taken to their houses. They said, oh, both of them are dead, so at least now you go back. And later on they found, when the entire crowd had receded back, that this man's pulse was still running. So my chachi, when she heard that he couldn't be saved, she urged everybody that please help save him. So some people took him to the nearest hospital called ESI hospital in Basai Darapur, where the treatment was given, and after about a week's time, he recovered his consciousness, and then the new treatment was given and he could survive. It's the local gundas of that area who were escorted by the policemen in the civilian uniform. The place where we live, we were fortunate that in that particular colony, there was no violence. That area is surrounded by mostly the Sikh-dominated areas, and the hooligans did not really cause much damage there. We did seriously consider about it, but being in a government job, I was in two minds. But after a month's time, perhaps, then we decided no, we would rather stay back, try to become more united with the other Sikhs around us, and then also try to devise means, how to protect ourselves in case it reoccurs. And we continued. I've talked to a lot of people. Yes. Whenever I get an opportunity, I try and tell people what happened, The very first thing is that you see that as soon as I called up my relations in Punjab and told them, I gave them a graphic description of what has happened in Delhi. Flashbacks, yes. Anytime I meet anybody who talks about, the difficult times that Sikhs have seen in history, I'm reminded of this massacre. But that's the one which we have seen, which we have witnessed ourselves in our lifetimes. Yes, I wanted to contribute for making it a kind of a, united action, some kind of a joint action forum where we could protect the interests of the Sikhs. But unfortunately, the tempo was lost later on because everybody, got busy again in the jobs, etc. It didn't happen. But I've seen a lot of movement otherwise, in the sense that a lot of Sikhs from various colonies, various different parts of Delhi, they all started converging to the west side of Delhi, near Tilak Nagar, so that they could all stay closer by and help each other, in such a calamity. Why did it happen? It happened. I would go to the extent of saying that even if Indira Gandhi was not to die, this would have still occurred, because the way the preparation had been done for the massacre, it was something unthinkable. The people who came to burn the houses of Sikhs and kill the Sikhs, they were carrying lists with them. They were prepared with various, they were carrying chemicals, kerosene, and a lot of things which can't be arranged within a few hours. And they could not have started all this within a few minutes or a few hours. It was pretty well planned. They had the complete list of each and every Sikh house, and they knew where to go and attack. There are a lot of places I know where the Sikhs were tracked down to, in their houses. When they found that nobody is there, they inquired from the neighbors. They even threatened the neighbors that you tell us where these people are gone. Right? And they were carrying lists. So it would have perhaps happened maybe another 10 days, 15 days later. I would very much like, yes, that you people bring out a book on this. And if there's a financial help also required, maybe the Sangat can contribute. And as far as I'm concerned, I am also ready to do something about it. But this entire thing must be properly serialized, put into a book, and brought out for the sake of, telling the community in future that this is what's happened, we have gone through.